Alright, I'm sorry, I had to play my new favorite song. That is Disclosure and Fatoumata Diawara. I really hope that I did not just botch that, and I'm pretty sure that I did. God, it's just so good. Sorry, I was just jamming to that before I played, or before I hit record, and I just said, whatever, I'm gonna hit record early. Anyhow, how are you guys? I hope that you are well. We are back again with another episode, and today I want to talk a little bit about owning your authentic truth and your magnetism and what that really means to step into your truth, to speak your truth, to live your truth, and why I think that is one of the most important things that we can do right now. Owning your truth at this time means owning your power. And the planet is in dire need of individuals standing in their power and standing in their truth. And the magnetic power that comes from owning your truth and speaking and living your truth is infinite. It is your creative power. And it is limitless because your authentic expression is the expression of source consciousness. If you believe that we're all source, we all come from source, the source of all that is, to limit your authentic expression, to limit your authentic truth, would be to limit that source consciousness that's flowing through you. Again, this is your creation power, this is your magnetism. This is the divine energy that flows through you at all times. But we happen to live in a three-dimensional construct that has systems and structures in place that have programmed and conditioned us into living a very robotic way, if you will, where we have really been conditioned to not speak our truth, to hold back what we believe is right or what we believe is authentic for us. And again, your authentic expression is your creative expression and is your expression of source consciousness. And we are in this human form, I believe, to create. We're here to manifest, to play with energy, to create whatever it is that wants to be birthed through us. And again, this is about doing the shadow work and doing the healing so that we can step into that divine creatorship and be limitless in it. And we're here to create from our unique well, if you will, because we all have gifts and wisdom to offer the planet. Again, especially now, we need all of us to be standing in our truth, because we need leaders. Standing in your truth and expressing yourself authentically is the quality of a leader. It's the quality of a trendsetter, of a trailblazer. This is the Aquarian energy coming through. And that is what is required of all of us right now. We need leaders to be speaking their truth and owning their uniqueness. Again, your uniqueness is your gift to the planet. When you stand in that truth and in your uniqueness and you own it, you are offering a vibration to the planet. Your truth is a vibration that ripples out into the planet, and you're giving others permission to do the same. And this is where it comes back to, we all have gifts to share. We all have talents to share. We all have unique, diverse, beautiful offerings that we can be sharing with the planet at this time. And it is unique to each individual, and it is it is your creative power. It's power and it's magnetism, and we will become unified in our diversity. Truly, our diversity is what can unify us. But again, coming back to these, systems and structures that have really limited us, those systems and structures are breaking down now. And now more than ever, you're seeing more and more people standing in their uniqueness, standing in their truth, and letting it be heard, letting it be seen. And I just wanted to give this message today to remind you that your uniqueness is your power. Because I will say for myself, it still is an ongoing journey for me of owning my uniqueness. And, that was a lot of healing, past life stuff, current life stuff around my own self-worth, and not really feeling like I had enough to give, or I was, good enough to be offering what I'm offering right now. And I really gave my power away a lot. Let's just put it that way. So this journey has been quite an awakening journey for myself, but I think it's one of the most important journeys that we can all go on. And this is part of the spiritual awakening, is stepping into your truth and letting it be heard and seen, and standing in that fearlessly, so that you don't give a shit what anyone thinks. And the voice might still come in. I still have it for sure come in. I have that ego come in and say, oh my God, what are people going to think of me if I'm talking about this stuff? Oh my God. Even very recently, I had a miniature ego death, if you will, around that, where it's like all this old stuff came back, all this old shadow came up almost for a review, like, are you sure you're going to stand in your truth? Are you sure you're going to speak your gifts? And, it was interesting because I was the most separated from it, but the dialogue, I was very detached from what was going on mentally, or the chatter that was coming up, but I was observing it, and the dialogue was fierce, man. Rather than reacting, rather than making snap decisions, I just sat with it. I observed it. I brought in my inner child. I told her she's safe. You're okay to be seen. It's okay to speak your truth. But it was very interesting to observe that come up. And I've done a lot of healing around that. So, the healing never ends. You're going to have these shadows pop in. And I like to say they pop in for a review. It's almost like, are you sure you healed that? And again, you can be detached from it. You don't have to be sitting so, you don't have to be so in it. You can be detached from it and observe it and witness it, and just nurture it as it comes through, and just, see it for what it is. Look at it from the higher perspective. Look at it from your higher self's perspective, and you look at it like a little child that's going through growing pains, and you just keep hugging that part of yourself. You don't beat that part of yourself up. You don't put it in timeout. You just nurture it. And that really can look like you visualizing the younger aspect of you and literally hugging her in that visualization. It can be you taking yourself out for ice cream. I don't know. It could be you creating a piece of art. Whatever is going to nurture you, that's going to be unique to you. But any practice that really helps you to come back home to yourself, to remind yourself that you are safe. And really, do not judge yourself if old patterns or old shadows come up. These things have layers to them. It takes time, and it requires patience. And this is why you want to have those routines and those practices that keep you centered, that keep you balanced, that keep you clear, so that you're not getting lost in the shadow. You're not judging yourself. You're not allowing your ego to come in there and say, well, who do you think you are for making this change? We're back, bitch. It is, really just learning to play with that aspect of you and not be so attached to it. Again, separate yourself from it. See it as the younger version of you, or, give it a name. Really detach yourself completely from that aspect of you and name him or her. So that when it does come up, it's like, okay, Sharon, hey, I see ya. I love you. But you're not taking over today. It is, developing a different relationship with that aspect of you when the shadows do come up. But again, please don't judge yourself. If it is coming up for review, remind yourself, it's impossible to go backwards. I can see this for what it is. I can love you. I can observe you, but I'm not going to be attached to you and what's coming up here. That's a practice. Some days are easier or harder than others. And it really is just a matter of flowing through this healing journey and not being rigid with yourself through this healing journey, just allowing it to unfold. It's really about peeling back layers like an onion and just, slowly but surely allowing these layers to fall away. And, I call it an ego death, but really it's just peeling back these layers. And there's a lot of different ways to perceive this healing journey, by the way. You don't even have to call it your ego. You can call it something else. The shadow side, there's a lot of different perspectives around this. As I always say, this is just my perspective based on my human experience, which might be very different to someone listening to this. So always just take what resonates and leave the rest. But back to, your authentic expression. Again, we need leaders speaking their truth and owning their uniqueness today. It is what is going to get us through this collective awakening that is underway at this time. We are going through a massive collective awakening, and it's not stopping. It's not going anywhere, in my opinion. If you follow astrology, it's kind of written in the stars. There's going to be some shakeups. There's going to be some just things that really awaken us collectively to these systems and structures that are broken, really. And this is a positive thing. You really want to remind yourself this is a positive thing as we go through this, because change is very uncomfortable. Change doesn't feel good. You can apply this at the individual level too. When you're doing the shadow work, change doesn't feel good. And your ego is often going to fight that, because your ego is there to protect you, and change to the ego is a threat. So you're going to feel that resistance come up when you start this shadow work. The resistance will be there because the ego's fighting you to stay the same. And, we're kind of experiencing that at a collective level. You see people really fighting it to, stay the same, but we really don't want to. If you're really paying attention to these systems and structures, they're broke. So, it is a positive that they're breaking down. The solution, though, in my opinion, is us doing this inner healing, going within, standing in our truth, standing in our authenticity, so that we have gifts to offer, which are the solutions. We are the solution. Individuals standing in their truth and in their power, that's the solution. And again, now more than ever, we need to be standing in our truth and letting it be heard and seen. I think that's how we can support this collective and awakening more and more as well. And part of this is, awakening the divine feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, no matter what gender you are or gender you identify with. And the divine feminine energy has been suppressed in this society and on this planet. And that aspect of us is connected to our creativity. That's our creative expression, is the feminine energy. And for many of us, that aspect of us has laid dormant. And this awakening that's happening now is awakening that feminine energy within us. You can associate that with the right brain and your creativity. So as this energy becomes more balanced, we're awakening more of the creativity, we're awakening to more innovation, which is necessary. We're going to need innovative solutions to the world's issues right now. That goes hand in hand with awakening this divine feminine energy within you. And, you might want to check in. Am I more in my masculine? Am I rigid? Am I focusing too much on taking action, but not really allowing myself to flow and surrender and create with freedom? So, you might want to just check in with yourself and tune in and ask yourself, am I too much in my masculine? And some of us might be too much in our feminine, where we're flowing a little too much. We might need a little bit more structure. But both of those energies, when they come in balance, that's when you're a really creative powerhouse, and that our creativity is our medicine for the planet at this time. Our authentic creativity is what will spark the innovation that is needed in order for this planet to come back into harmony and balance. And this comes back to you standing in your uniqueness, standing and owning your truth, no matter how different it might be from those around you. Because again, that is the medicine that is needed now, is us owning our truth, owning our creative expression, letting it be seen fearlessly, and being the bad bitch that you came here to be. Again, we are unified in our diversity. Unity consciousness is about owning our authenticity, about owning our uniqueness, and letting these gifts and talents blossom and bloom from us and offer them to the planet. Again, to limit our uniqueness is to limit our sourceness, in my opinion. And that is what this awakening is all about, is awakening to your highest expression. And your highest expression is your truest expression. Or in other words, the highest version of you is the truest version of you. And that is a version of you stripped away from programs, belief systems, fears, and past experiences that might have caused you to limit yourself, or caused you to hide, or caused you to feel boxed into living or speaking or doing things in a certain way that are not that are not congruent with who you really are. And this conversation can span across many different arenas. But I can only, again, speak through my own personal experience, which really included me stepping into my power and being seen as someone with spiritual beliefs, and owning those beliefs and stepping into that enough so that I can hopefully be able to offer guidance to those that are wanting to step into their truth. And that doesn't have to mean, spirituality. That could be, your art. That could be a certain career that you're wanting to step into. That could be owning a completely different identity that you haven't let yourself step into. And that's, a big part of what this is about, is redefining yourself. Because again, we've had systems and structures and conditioning and programming that has limited us, that has confined us, and as we're breaking free from that, we're stepping more and more into our real identity, which is unique and special to you. It's like our third grade teacher told us this. It's like, this isn't something new that we've heard before, but the programming runs deep. The conditioning runs deep, y'all. It is a journey to awakening your authenticity and your uniqueness. And it is unique to each individual. Each individual. Some of us, we don't give a shit what anyone thinks. We're just out there, we're doing our thing, and some people just have that confidence and they're letting it fly. I would put money on that most people aren't born that way. Just with, limitless confidence, and just can be seen fearlessly. So it is really doing the healing on the aspects of you that want to hide, that want to really make sure that we're not being seen if we're too weird, or, if we're not really saying the right thing or doing the right thing. And this might be healing, parental conditioning. Most of us, I'd say all of us, have gotten our programming and conditioning passed down to us. We've adopted our parents' conditioning and programming. So, you might want to take a look at, what did my parents say and believe and do? What were their behaviors when I was growing up? Because that is what you've adopted. And they've adopted that conditioning and programming from their parents and their parents, and so on and so on. And it's often entangled with societal programming. So this comes back to those systems and structures that were built to keep us confined. And just going back to the layers, healing these layers, you might have some very deep generational patterns that, are taking some time to heal. Or you might be a little bit older in your journey. I know I have some older listeners, And this is where the patience really comes in. This is where forgiveness really comes in. You will often have to have some forgiveness practices put in place for your parents or even for the systems and structures so that you can really clear the cords and attachments to those past experiences to help you, really heal and let go of those attachments that formed the identity that you're trying to break from. So I just want to remind us, patience, forgiveness, allow these layers to unfold. There is no way that you can go backwards on your journey, and often it will feel like you're going backwards. There's a lot of times where these shadows come up really, really strongly. Like I was saying before, I've done years of healing so that I can show up on here and say these things. And I've always been, not to say that I've never been someone to kind of speak my mind, but to show up in this way on a platform and speak these things, I've had to do a shit ton of healing to not be scared of what people think and just do it anyway. But having said that, these shadows will come up for review. And then, like I was saying, just very recently, I'm sitting in bed going, oh my God, what are people going to think of me? What am I doing? And I'm not even, I talk, quite out of the box for sure. I'm aware of that. And I'm fully aware that I'm not going to resonate with a lot of people, nor do I want to. I'm not here to resonate with everyone. I'm here to resonate with the people who are resonating with me, which is not everyone. So, if I were getting on here just to speak to everyone and hope that everyone, liked me or wanted to hear what I had to say, I would be speaking to no one. I would not be, touching on the things that are hopefully helping you who's listening to this. So, doing the healing around that, to be perfectly okay with not being understood by everyone and not being liked by everyone, that's some shadow work right there. And that took me a good amount of healing to get to that point. And that was a pretty big shadow of mine, to want to be liked by everyone, to want to be understood by everyone. That was a big desire of mine, and really healing the aspect of me to allow myself to really sit in this energy and know that not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. Not everyone's going to understand you, and that's okay. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing anyway. Again, it's layers. It's layers that I still go through, that still come up for review. And this stuff just takes time. Your shadow work might be around relationships. Often, a lot of our shadows come up in relationships because our relationships are always mirrors. So if you're just diving into this work, that's a good place to start. Who and what is triggering you? Is your relationship triggering you? Is there an aspect of your relationship that's triggering you? And not just romantic relationships, friendships as well, or, working relationships, but really taking a look at the things that are triggering you or rubbing you the wrong way. Those are the places to start if you're just starting this shadow work and you don't really know what is blocking you or what is holding you back. Take a look at what is really triggering you, or what is not really sitting well with you, or what fears you have, or what insecurities you have, and just observe them. It really starts with building this self-awareness and then becoming the observer. And that's what I'll end with today. Be the observer as often as you can. Detach yourself from the human experience as much as you can and see yourself go through this. Just witness it. Just observe it. And even rather, when it does come up, trying to hurry and fix it, just sit with it. See it. Meditate with it. If you can take this aspect of you out of you and see it, visualize yourself in this energy and just look at it and connect heart to heart with this aspect of you. This aspect of you that might be holding fear, might be holding, fear of being seen or heard, or fear of looking a certain way. Just see her. How old is she? Where did that fear first originate from? Meditate with that energy and give it love. Love is what will neutralize that fear. But you want to really sit with it, meditate with it. Don't feel like you got to rush and fix it and make it right. Just observe it and allow it to just be. Just be with it. Because when you detach from it and you observe it and you allow yourself to just witness whatever program, fear, insecurity, dense consciousness is coming up, you're already in the driver's seat. You've already turned off the autopilot. So you're already on the road to healing it because you're not in it. You're detached from it. You can see it. You can go, okay, whew, you can take a breath. It's like, all right, I see this program coming up. Okay, I see little Hannah coming up. All right, let's just sit with her. Let's nurture her. And then you can go to some practices, some subconscious reprogramming, some quantum healing, some energy healing, some sound healing, affirmations, journaling, getting in nature, connecting to your spirit guides, whatever it is for you. But really just observe first, because most often our first reaction is to run from these feelings or to go into autopilot and go into a behavior, an addiction, or some other self-soothing action that isn't in our highest and best interests, to essentially run from these feelings, run from these fears and insecurities. So you are putting yourself in the driver's seat when you just allow yourself to observe them and to witness it. That's it. Just start there. Start there with this work. Just allow yourself to build as much self-awareness as you can. And as you do that, not judging yourself when the programs come up. Just witnessing them, seeing yourself as a human. It's like, okay, I see human Hannah here has got this fear coming up. All right, I see you. I'm not going to sit in it. Some days are going to be easier than others. Some days you are just going to want to sit in it and go to the self-soothing practice. And that is okay. You know, don't judge yourself if that comes up. Just observe it. It's like, okay, I see I went for the pint of ice cream this time. Or whatever it is. It's okay. Observe it. Love it. Nurture it. Remind yourself you're safe. I am safe. I can start again. I'm here now. I can't control the past. I can't control the future. I'm here now. I'm in my body. I'm breathing into my body. I feel safe in this moment now. We're all right. So this is all practice. As I always say, this takes time. Be gentle with yourselves. Have compassion with yourselves through this whole process. But, you know, awakening to your truth, awakening to your power, it is a journey. It's absolutely a journey, and it does take time, but it is so important and imperative right now. This awakening individually to our truth and letting our truth be heard and seen, and awakening to our divine creator energy within us, that is the magic. That is the solution to our problems, I believe right now. That's my truth. So again, be super gentle with yourself through this journey and walk this path as best as you can, non-judgmentally, because no matter what, I'm a firm believer in divine timing. So you're on time. You're exactly where you need to be right now, or you wouldn't be there. So just trust that. Trust in this healing process. Trust that it is all perfect. It is all divine. All right, I'm sending you guys so much love. As always, if you need extra support, just reach out to me. I'll put my information down in the show notes. If you want to book a session, I am open to taking clients full time now, which I'm really happy about. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, I'll link those down below as well. I cannot recommend meditation more at this time. I honestly think it's a necessity. Maybe I'm a little biased, but again, your meditation practices can be unique to you. That might be walking in nature, but I cannot recommend it enough. At this point, I think it's a civic duty, for real. I think we all need to be meditating in whatever that way is for you, but really tuning into your inner well of wisdom, because we all have wisdom, we all have knowledge, and tuning into that inner self, to that higher self, is what will keep you balanced at this time. Prioritize meditation, prioritize tuning in and checking out of the noise, and you will build more and more peace within. Alrighty, I will be back again.